and I'm going to show you how to slice and dice your way to making pasta and meatballs with a red sauce. So let's do this. And I'm not gonna cut you and you're not gonna cut yourself. You have to be confident with these sharp objects. So let's do it. So first we have our white onion, or yeah, this is a white onion. And there's many variations of onions. So sometimes I get a little confused between white, yellow, and red onion. So we have this, and we're gonna take the skin off, like this little extra papery layer, because it's not edible. I mean, I guess you can eat it, but if you like eating odd things, then I guess this will work out for you. But this is not what we want to eat for this recipe. Just really want to take all that off. Sometimes I like to use a knife like this to cut away at all of this papery stuff. And it just makes it a little easier. So I hope that wherever you are safe and well and happy. And I hope that you will find this tutorial very helpful. I am not somebody who has always enjoyed cooking. When I was younger, I would try to hide from the kitchen as much as possible. If I wasn't eating, I was not in the kitchen. It was so bad that, like, if my mom and my sister were in the kitchen cooking like breakfast on the weekends, I would just be in my room pretending to still be asleep. Like, I wouldn't go to the bathroom, even if I had to use it really bad. I was in my room hiding out until that food was done and somebody came and got me and told me to wake up. They didn't know that that was what I was doing all those years until I said it as an adult. But don't be like me. Don't hide out in your room avoiding your cooking tasks. Just go for it, just do it, and everything will be all right. AmmyTube07, hi. I'm good, how are you? I'm so glad that you could join me. I am peeling an onion right now because this is going to be one of the produce that we are going to cut up and incorporate into our dish. Let's see here. Hi, I'm sorry, I can't read your name, but I see you have a Statue of Liberty next to you, but hello. Jacqueline's Little World. I am making pasta with meatballs. And oh, you're from India. Okay, I'm YouTube. Greetings, India. Love to see it. So I have these ready-made meatballs. I am a person that believes in just not working harder and working smarter. Sometimes I love to cook from scratch, but a lot of us were on the go. Some of us are students, some of us are parents, some of us are working a 9-to-5, some of us are business owners, and a lot of us just don't have the time in the day to be Nara Smith. And that's okay. We love Nara, good for her. I love to see a great cooking from scratch video, but everybody ain't able, okay? So this is some Italian style meatballs that I found at my local grocery store. Here in Texas, we have a grocery chain called HEB. So we're just gonna use what we have, whatever you have at your local grocery store. How do I feel about eating innocent animals? Well, I don't feel bad because I once was vegan. And when I was vegan, I ended up becoming very anemic. And I didn't realize I was insufficient in iron to the point where I had to get iron infusions. So I don't feel bad because, well, how do we feel about all the other terrible things that's happening in the world that we can't prevent or that we take part in, you know? So people pick and choose what they care about, and I'm somebody that cares about animals. I love them, but I'm not gonna sit up here and say, oh yeah, I'm not gonna eat them. I am. I'm just gonna be real about it. Oh, it's morning, SS. Good morning to you. Me Too. I'm so happy you subscribed to me. Welcome. I appreciate everybody that's here. So when you have, here in the States, we have our produce sometimes come with little labels like these. You want to make sure you remove these stickers because you do not want to start chopping and then you chop up these stickers and it gets in your food, probably melt in the pan and stuff. We want to make sure that we're looking out for these type of things. So I'm from California in the US of A. However, I currently live in the state of Texas. So this is now my humble abode. They say everything is bigger in Texas, so I had to come and find out for myself. All right, so we have this nifty strainer here. I think, I forget what the technical name is, but we're gonna like put all of this in here and we're gonna rinse it off in the sink. We can just chop and stuff and get right to it, but I'm a person who I like to rinse my produce. It makes me feel a little bit better because we cannot trust the grocery stores to clean our produce for us. Sometimes these things go from the market to the grocery store. It can fall on the floor. Nobody cares because they just have a job to do and they got to get it done quick. So it is up to us to rinse off our own produce, and there's nothing wrong with that. You are also a YouTuber. Okay, nice. Well, I would love to know what you post on your YouTube, like what kind of content. And let me know if you guys are fellow YouTubers and content creators, and what's your channel content about? You know, we have to stick together and support each other. So I would love to know. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, actually, you know what? I'm gonna rinse this with the top on and then just cut afterwards. So, gonna take this to the sink and rinse it off. And I like to rinse my produce off with warm water or hot water if I can manage to be patient enough to get it to that temperature. All right. Looking hot. Oh, you are fresh. You're a little cheeky thing, aren't you? Talking about you like my figure. Well, I've been working on it, so thank you for the compliment. All right, so you see this part right here? You want to take a little knife and just kind of cut this top off, because on the inside there's going to be like some seeds and stuff, and we don't really want that. So that it can go. So I'm going to just slice that really quickly. And you have like these little ridges right here. You can keep it, but I prefer to get rid of it. Usually on the parts of produce where it's more white, it's actually less flavor, less carotene. And carotene is what gives bell peppers these gorgeous, vibrant colors like red, orange, and yellow. So if it doesn't have the vegetables that we need to replenish our body's nutrients, what's the point of keeping it? But for some people who like to reduce food waste, keep what you want, do what works for you. What you see somebody doing on the internet is not something that you have to do for yourself. So like our fellow guest who was concerned about eating animals, if it doesn't work for you, there are plenty of vegan options. You can make vegan meatballs Like there's so many brands out there that make it and add it into a pasta dish. So it's not something that you have to worry about too much. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that my answers are smart. I try to be. I mean, some of us have to sound intelligent on the internet, you know? So, we're gonna cut that. You know what? I'm going to slice this vertically because this one is not as easy to slice off as our other one. Now this has a lot, like the green bell pepper has a lot of seeds and a lot of this white stuff. So a small knife is perfect for cutting all of this out. You know, bell pepper seeds are actually not, ooh. Be careful when you're slicing. My fingers slip because this is wet. So always be very careful when you're slicing. Angle in a way to where you're cutting away from your hands and fingers, because nobody likes cooking with Band-Aids on their fingers. I hate it. One time I was filming a video, I was making shepherd's pie, and I sliced my finger while I was chopping, and I was so discouraged after I kept seeing my little Band-Aided finger in my video. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna even post this. It was so discouraging. I like to, you know, have a certain look about my videos. And so I figured like people are gonna say, oh, they were cooking with a Band-Aid on. And it happens, but nobody wants to actually see it. All right, so sometimes the food, vegetable prepping can be a little tedious, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, why do we have to do all of this prep? So what you can do is sometimes the day before or the night before, pre-make, pre-cut your vegetables, pre-season everything, pre-marinate. That will help a lot. I sometimes don't do that. I just kind of go for it day of. It's like, all right, I'm gonna get everything done at once. You just have to take some time, set it aside, and do what works for your schedule. Do what works for your energy too. Like some of us do not have the energy to prep all day and, you know, weeks in advance or days in advance, or make like a huge batch of food at once. I personally don't care to do that. And that's just what it is. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of the rest of this. Got a orange bell pepper here. And you see these little knobs on the bottom? So it is said that the more knobs on the bottom, the sweeter that this tastes. I believe it. Because every time I've had a bell pepper that had like a certain amount of knobs on the bottom, it definitely determined how it was gonna taste, and I could taste the difference. Okay, these seeds are really stubborn, so what I'm gonna end up doing is slicing these, getting these ridges off as much as I can, and then I'm gonna give these another rinse. That way it's gonna make things a little bit easier, because I don't wanna spend all night cutting up and dealing with seeds. All right. So a beautiful yellow bell pepper. Gonna cut out the ridges here. right. I'm gonna put my onion over here. Cut out these little ridges. And then we're gonna start slicing and dicing these vegetables. Some people like to cut these fine. I like to make my vegetables big and chunky because I like to be able to bite into it. But it really depends on what it is that I want for whatever type of food I'm eating. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse these. All right, stubborn seed right here. All right, so I guess I got everything. And this is how they look. All the seeds are gone. And I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all of this. Sorry for the sound of that. It's me scraping the board. So this was a very helpful knife, but I'm gonna get a bigger knife because that is what I'm gonna need to cut up these bigger vegetables. So something like this, you know, it's big, it's thick, and I'm just gonna go ahead and chop really quick, well, as quick as I can without cutting my fingers. And I want to make sure you guys can see. So I'm gonna turn this sideways so then I have like some kind of cubed pieces. Watch your fingers, make sure you don't cut yourself. And I'm gonna add like a little extra chop to this. So whenever you're cutting, and I wanna make sure that y'all can see this. So when you're cutting, you want the tip of your knife to be on your board. You don't wanna like chop like this. It's hard. Please mod you. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. So put the knife point right here and chop, rotate, chop, rotate. I like to put my hand right here or my fingers right here, and it helps me control the knife. That way you can prevent yourself from getting hurt. And now, if you want to make things extra easy for yourself, put your vegetables in the blender because it's going to go in the sauce. If you like your sauce to be just smooth and like no lumps at all, you don't want to bite down onto any vegetables, then the blender is the way to go, unless you want to spend all day and all night chopping until everything is a fine baby texture, baby food texture, then more power to you. But everybody has their own preferences, and some people are pressed for time. So this is for the people who like to save some time, but if you don't have a blender, this is what you can do. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to taste good, and it has to look good too, because nobody wants to eat anything that looks unappetizing. So Now, you may be wondering why I'm using so many bell peppers for a recipe that doesn't call for it traditionally. Well, I'm not somebody who has a traditional diet. I don't eat the same things as everybody else because I can't. I have something that's called Crohn's disease. So usually when people eat pasta and spaghetti and ravioli and stuff, they like to eat a salad on the side. Now, salads can have like arugula, spinach, iceberg lettuce, all of that great stuff. And believe me, I love salads. I do. I can't eat them because I will have issues digesting it. So I have to get my vegetables in other ways. And this is my way of being a bit creative. Just adding more vegetables to dishes that have to be cooked. And really, I have not had any issues cooking this way. But again, if you are somebody that likes to just have the onion, garlic, and like maybe some fresh herbs in your pasta dish, then go for it. But if you are somebody who has maybe irritable bowel syndrome or an irritable bowel disease, do what works best for you. If I had to choose to go to culinary school, I would want to take a class where I just learn how to like cut really quick and hopefully do it without cutting myself. I don't want to start cutting and then I pull back a nub. I want to be able to chop like this and not have to look at what I'm doing. Got a big piece here. I want it to be a little smaller. I like to fill my sauce with so much veggies. So much veggies. So actually I'm gonna use this bigger piece over here. So I'm almost done with cutting up my vegetables. I'm gonna go ahead and warm up the pan and put some olive oil in it so that I can put my meatballs in the pan and start searing them. So I'm gonna go over here really quick. I'm gonna add some olive oil to the pan. So hopefully you're not like a super beginner and you don't know what it's like to add olive oil to a pan and you feel like you need to see it. Just use about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil in your pan. Put the heat on medium high and wait for the pan to warm up before you start adding your meat. You don't want to add you want to add anything to a pan that's not hot enough yet. So some extra virgin olive oil. All right. So while that's heating up, I'm going to finish chopping. And the thing about cooking is sometimes you have to like do multiple things at once. Please mod me, then click that. I don't know what. I'm tech savvy, but I have never done a live before, so I don't know how to mod anybody and then click what. What is that? Like, I don't know. I'll probably figure it out once this live is over. You know, when it's the first time doing something, there's always going to be some trial and error. And this is something that I'm learning as I go. Big shout out from Brazil. Hey, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, telling me great work. It makes me feel really good. Keeps me feeling encouraged. So where in Brazil are you from? I've always wanted to go to Brazil. It looks so beautiful there. The people look amazing and just very carefree and kind. So I would love to go to Brazil. So now I'm taking my yellow bell pepper and giving that a good chop. Hot boy, hi, hot boy. All right, I'm gonna turn this way so I don't cut my fingers off. If I cut myself, somebody come and save me. I'm just kidding. All right. So my olive oil is still heating up in that pan over there. Oh, some juice just squirted in my eye. That happens sometimes when you're dealing with cooking. Things just start squirting everywhere and it's like, ugh. But I don't mind. It's all in the name of eating some good food. All right, we have our onion. So I'm not gonna use this whole onion. I'm actually, I'm thinking I wanna use about 1/4 of this onion. So I'm gonna cut it in half. And then I'm gonna cut the half in half. Kayuan, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Kawan, KMK, you're from the Northeast region. You probably don't know the state. I don't, but you are motivating me to do my research. So thank you so much for sharing where you're from. And tell me, what do you like to eat in Brazil? Like, what's some popular dishes that you make in Brazil? And tell me what you would recommend that I try here in the United States. I am all for eating foods from various cultures. I think that food globally helps us all connect. So I want to connect. Sir Jip. I'm going to Google it so then I can figure out how to get Siri to say it out loud so I can know how it's pronounced. The smallest state there. Okay, well, that's going to be easy for me to figure out, like, what you might be talking about. The smallest state. And you know what's something? On my Instagram feed, I get a lot of Brazilian posts. I don't know how I ended up on the Brazilian side of Instagram, but I'm constantly seeing posts where they're speaking Portuguese, and it's really fascinating because, like, I always thought that Portuguese would sound more similar to Spanish than anything else, but it almost kind of sounds like a mix of like French and Spanish. But that's just my ear. I could be wrong with my assessment, but you tell me. All right, I'm gonna cut this up a little finer. We eat rice and beans every day. I heard that. I love rice and beans. I grew up eating rice and beans, so. And there is nothing wrong with it because if you know how to cook and make stuff flavorful, oh my God. I could eat rice and beans all day, every day. Of course, it can make a person gassy, so you have to be careful. Pick and choose your battles. All right. So I have these chopped up. So I'm gonna put that to the side. Now I'm gonna open up my Italian meatballs because I'm gonna get ready to put these in the pan and sear them. All the languages have a Latin origin. Yep. Even English. That's true. Italian is so similar to Spanish, so I don't get many people that know how to speak Italian, so I can read it. At this point, I can read Italian and understand it, but I can't, I no longer speak it because I don't have conversations with people. There's not too many people around me that know how to speak Italian. Everybody, almost everybody in Texas and California know how to speak Spanish though, so there's that. All right, so I have this open and I'm gonna take you with me over here. So, we're gonna look in this pan right here and all right, can you see that? All right, so I'm not gonna really be able to read what you're saying because I have this here. So this oil is nice and hot. I'm gonna go ahead and put my meatballs in here, and I'm gonna adjust the light too. My overhead light over my microwave went out, so this is what I'm working with. So here we go. And I'm just gonna sear these meatballs. Some people like to make the meatballs from scratch, like using like ground beef or in this case ground pork, and adding like the seasonings and stuff. But I knew that I did not want to dedicate my time and energy to making the meatballs from scratch. Just want to put them in here like this. Ooh, that sizzle is like ASMR. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this away. And I'm gonna put my produce right here because after the meat is done, so the thing about meat is the fat has so much flavor and the meat has seasoning in it already. So it's getting that pan nice and seasoned. So when I add my produce into here, there's not too much that I have to add to it to make it flavorful. Because we don't want to do too much. So while the meatballs is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my water on. So I have a pot like this that I'm gonna add some pasta to. I'm gonna get that going. So while that's cooking, see my kitchen. So in the pantry, I have like a bunch of stuff. My pantry is not organized. I'm not one of those people where it's like everything looks super pretty. Who cares? Like, this is just a place where food is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be the prettiest thing and you never get it messed up, because that just means that you're not cooking anything ever. So, canned diced tomatoes. And I have some traditional pasta sauce. I figured if I already have this stuff in the pantry, there's no need for me to go to the store and spend money on fresh tomatoes. All of this stuff is done for me already. So I'm gonna add that. And then, you know, I'm gonna add like some water to cut the bitterness, but also to increase the quantity of it. If you have a household where there's like many mouths to feed, you figure out how to stretch things and make it work. Meatballs, I love this. I just don't know why you is making it, in the US is making it so big. Here we call it almondega. I probably did not pronounce that properly. Yeah, these meatballs are really big, but the US, we like things bigger, I suppose. Everything is usually in big quantities. Sometimes you can buy things that have like a smaller quantity, but it depends on what store you go to. But in some places in the US, we actually have seen many grocery stores and markets downsize on a lot of our food, but they increase the prices. So everything is not huge here. Just happens to be these big old things right here. Oh, I pronounced it good? Oh, yay, great. All right, ooh. All right, so I'm gonna rotate these meatballs. And be careful whenever you're cooking something like this because the grease will pop. I am somebody who hates being popped by grease. I have like this huge burn scar right here. Years ago when I was splattered by grease when I was cooking. And these are my kitchen battle wounds. So be careful out there. You don't want to be like me, all scarred up. All right. So we have that. And I'm gonna get the pasta. So I have this spaghetti pasta right here. Gonna put this on the side. Gonna rotate these some more. And what I'm gonna do with these meatballs, once I make my sauce, I'm gonna put these meatballs in the sauce so then it can soak up all that sauce and get that flavor in there. Okay. I'm gonna turn on the AC because things can get really, really hot. So, all right. Oh. All right. Okay. Ouch! See, I'm getting popped. It hurts. It hurts. All right, so in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is get my tomato sauce. I have my tomato sauce. And what I like to do is I like to wash off the top because you see all of that? When this stuff comes from the factory, what they don't tell you is that the factories are full of rats. They scatter across the top of your canned produce and stuff. And you basically have like rats that pee and poop on it. So you want to make sure that you wash off the tops of your cans. I can't stress this enough. People are probably getting sick because they don't wash off these tops. So just run some hot water, some warm water on top, wipe it down with a paper towel or a towel, a cloth towel, and then open it up with a can opener, and then boom. All right, I'm gonna rotate this some more. So these are almost done. Once these are done, I'm gonna put them on a pan so they can set on the side. And then I'm gonna get some of my veggies in here and saute them, cook them down. So yeah, these are coming close to the end. And sometimes meatballs, they can be kind of hard to like keep on one side when you're trying to rotate them. So lean them against each other. There is nothing wrong with that. Or lean them on the side of the pan. Just like that. This one looks like it's about done. And even if it's not cooked all the way in the middle, it's gonna go back into the pan and simmer. So don't worry about your meatballs being undercooked. If you're a huge stickler or like you have OCD and you're really picky about, you know, your meat being done, you can just set these on a baking sheet on top of like some aluminum foil and then set it in the oven for about 15 minutes at 425 degrees. That way you can ensure that it's cooked through and through. I know everybody does not like to eat undercooked meat, and I respect that. I was like that at one point where I could not stand to see the sight of some bleeding meat. But once I got older and I started developing a deeper appreciation for culinary type of foods and cuisine, I opened up my mind a bit and figured, you know, I'll try something that's a little bit out of the ordinary for me. All right, so now these veggies are about to go in here. I'm not gonna even use all of these. I'm probably gonna use about half. So here we go. So half of each bell pepper. I ran out of garlic. So what I'm gonna end up doing for this sauce, I'm gonna layer in some dry seasonings to give it a robust flavor. And if you're ever cooking garlic in your pan, like with veggies, you got to be very careful with garlic. It will burn really quickly and it'll taste bitter. So whenever I'm doing veggies and sauteing them, I like to add my garlic closer to like the last few minutes. So you want to saute these vegetables until they're really soft, like translucent. So as you can see, these veggies, they're not diced super fine. You don't have to get your veggies to be super fine and, you know, super tiny, because I don't have the time for that unless I make time. And in this video, this is for the people who don't have time for that. So it smells so good, like, and I don't have to worry about the oil popping at me, so that's why I'm closer. Now, if this meat in the pan, oh, I'm back. I'm way back. It's like grenades being thrown, hot grenades. So I'm just gonna let that sit there in the pan for a little bit. And I'm going to get my tomato sauce ready. Okay, where is my can opener? All right. So have the cans. So these are diced tomatoes, the roasted diced tomatoes. So they are a bit on the chunky side, but I don't mind because I like to feel like I can bite into my food sometimes. Give this a quick little stir. It's getting nice and dark here. Oh, this is just beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to cut these off. I've already rinsed them off and wiped them off with a paper towel. So I'm not worried about any nasty nasties getting in my sauce. And this is multitasking, people. When you have one thing going on the stove, take that time to take care of like other things. Maximize your time. If you do like your cooking things and you're doing every step one at a time, that's gonna take you forever. And we don't wanna take forever. We don't have forever to use being in the kitchen cooking, people. We have stuff to do. We have jobs, we have lives. Some of us have kids, some of us have businesses. You know, we do not have time. We gotta study, we gotta work. We cannot be slaving over a hot stove all the time. All right, so now with this being nice and cooked down, I'm gonna add my diced tomatoes. Be very careful. You don't want it to like splatter you. I'm gonna add more diced tomatoes. Yum, that looks good. Okay, gonna add this. Now this is a creamy, traditional tomato sauce. Now these canned tomatoes and tomato sauces already have like, you know, some salt in there. So if you are somebody who is trying to watch your blood pressure, please do not feel obligated to add more salt. But if you're somebody who wants to add like more salt, you know, do as you please. It's up to you to figure out what you like and what you prefer. So as this pan heats up, you're gonna start noticing like these little heat bubbles coming up. That's when this stuff starts to splatter, and I'm not gonna lie, I hate that. That's the worst thing about making tomato sauces or tomato-based sauces, is that like the splatter. Sometimes you're gonna have like a lot of stuff to clean up. So I have some black pepper. Now I'm the type of person, I don't usually measure a lot. When I do measure, it's for the sake of, you know, YouTube shorts. If I'm giving like somebody a tutorial of how to make something, then I'll add like the recipe in the comments or something like that. And the thing about it is you don't want to add too much. You want to kind of layer your dry seasonings because you can always adjust it. If you put too much in at the very beginning, then that means you have to figure out other ways to kind of like cut whatever flavor is overpowering. So layer, take your time with it. So that's the black pepper. I have some garlic powder. See, I did not have garlic bulbs that I could put in here because I ran out of garlic. So I'm just gonna do this. Oh, see a little volcano bubble there. I'm gonna be extra careful. So at this point, I'm gonna turn the heat down to low so it can just simmer. And I'm gonna, oh, that's done. So I'm gonna add some onion powder. Always make sure that you have your seasonings that you need because you don't want to get in your kitchen by the time you're ready to cook and you're missing ingredients. That's the worst feeling. Oh, I swear. So I'm gonna add some rosemary. Now I love the oregano, thyme, and rosemary trio because that's when it's gonna get your pasta to smell very herbal and aromatic. Oh, you need to go now? Oh, okay, well, thank you for joining me. Subscribing to support. Okay, love to see you cook. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You take care, and I hope that I see you on the next live. All right, so I'm adding some thyme. These are dried herbs. I like a lot of dried herbs. And I have some Italian seasoning, and this Italian seasoning has some flaxseed. It was something I found in the store. I thought it was really cool, and I'm like, okay, let me give this a try. Did I add my oregano yet? I probably did, so. No, I don't think I did. You know how people joke around and say, you know, keep on seasoning until the ancestors whisper to you to, you know, whisper to you that's enough? Yeah, that's what we're doing here. So if you go to the grocery store and you have like some pre-made spaghetti sauce, go ahead and pick that up because it's gonna give your sauce more flavor. And you only need like half a packet of this, depending on the quantity of your sauce. So for this, we don't need too much. And I'm gonna give this a nice little stir here. That is coming along. Now with tomatoes are very acidic, and with acidic foods, they can taste bitter. So when it comes to this, some people like to add sugar to their pasta sauce, like their red pasta sauce, and that's fine. Me, I might add like a little bit of sugar if I have it, but I also like to use like a red wine if I have it, or a red wine vinegar. I like to use it all, you know, just combining a bunch of things. And don't be afraid to taste test your food as you're cooking. Get you a tasting spoon. So it could be something like this. If you're cooking for yourself, it is okay if you double dip the spoon. Like if you're not cooking for anybody else except for maybe like your spouse, like they're probably not tripping on your saliva. So just go ahead and taste. Now be careful, it's hot, so I don't want to burn my tongue. It's bitter because it's acidic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some red wine vinegar to my sauce. And I'm also going to add some sugar, so I'll be right back with that. So you can use a measuring spoon, but like just add like a little bit at a time. Since I have a lot of sauce, I'm gonna just sprinkle in a little bit and let that sugar melt all throughout this sauce and disperse and cut out a lot of that acid taste. Because we don't want a bitter pasta sauce. If you like savory, then that's fine, but savory and bitter is not the same thing. We don't ever want to eat or create bitter dishes. When you're cooking for yourself, imagine that you're cooking for a group of people. You only want to eat the best of the best, right? You don't want to eat no bull crap. So I'm gonna take my taste testing spoon and see what it tastes like now. It's a lot better. The first time when I tasted this, I was like, you know, like I'm drinking alcohol. It was like, it was harsh. You don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more sugar to this until it starts tasting exactly how I want it, not bitter. And just know that if you add a little bit of sugar to it, it's not gonna start tasting sweet right away. You're actually gonna taste less and less of that bitterness from the tomatoes. Oh, you wanna know something that I researched and something that researchers are saying about tomatoes? So they're saying that tomatoes can feel pain. They said that they were able to measure the pain of tomatoes, like if you slice them and they can feel pain. I'm like, what? Now, I don't know how true this is. You know, you have to take all the information that you receive in this day and age with a grain of salt, but I thought that was quite interesting. So if you ever have somebody hounding you about being a meat eater, like, oh, like you're hurting the animals, tell them that tomatoes feel pain. Tell them that I told you that. Say, yep, Nisi taught me. She told me that tomatoes feel pain. So that means if tomatoes feel pain, then all the produce, all the fruits and vegetables feel pain when we slice into them. Now what? I think that people need to respect others' lifestyles and beliefs. If somebody eats meat, then they eat meat. If you are somebody who's vegan, be vegan. I was vegan at one point in my life, and I was never the kind of person to shame other people for their dietary choices because it's silly. And we all know that everybody lives different lifestyles. So if you're okay with not eating meat and you care about the animals and you want to save the planet, awesome. But it really doesn't do you any good to shame other people for what they eat. You know, if it's not gonna kill you, if it's not putting you in any immediate danger or directly affecting your life and your lifestyle, leave people alone. All right, so I'm gonna give this sauce a taste. I'm gonna clean this up. And make sure when you're cooking, you clean as you go, because it's gonna make everything a lot easier when you come to the end of cooking. So clean as you go. All right, now I'm gonna taste this. Let's see. It's exactly how I want it. All right. So now I'm gonna take our lovely meatballs and I'm going to add them back into the pot or pan. And here we go. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Oh, super easy. All I did was saute some ready-made meatballs. It only took me about, I wanna say 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes. They're already seasoned and balled up for you. I took some tomatoes that were already in a can and poured it in here. The only thing that I prepped was my veggies. That's the only thing. Super simple and easy. You don't have to spend so much time cooking. Now I know for this live, I've gone over an hour, but that's because I'm talking to you guys and explaining my steps. Usually if it's just me and I'm cooking, I'm breezing through this. But for the sake of educating the viewers, this is what you get to see. You get to see all of this happening in real time. And voila. So for this, I'm gonna give it about maybe 20 minutes. And then I'm gonna start putting my pasta in here. All right, so we are going to redirect our vision over here. You're not gonna really be able to see it too good because my tripod is not that tall, but just imagine what it would be like. So I'm gonna put a lid on top of this. Can this fit? Oop, nope, too small. I have one of those kinds of kitchens where it's like, I have a bunch of pots and pans at various sizes, and sometimes I don't know what's gonna fit on what. Now this is actually too big. This is actually too big, but it's gonna keep the tomato sauce from splattering everywhere. Like, ugh, I hate it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this out. Ooh, look at that. So I have some pink Himalayan salt here. I only have a little bit left. I have to get some more from the grocery store. But I'm going to add this, sprinkle it in while the water is nice and hot, because you want to flavor the water so that your pasta does not taste super bland. And I'm just gonna dump like this whole thing in here. I'm not gonna break the sticks in half or anything like that, because I like long pasta strands. So we're gonna put that in there like that. And I'm gonna put another one in there too. So whenever you're cooking pasta, what you wanna do after you put your salt in the water, not too much salt, you know, maybe like a couple of pinches. And then you place your pasta in the water. You can bring your water to a rolling boil, but I don't like to do that all the time because then it might like overflow. And for the sake of this video, I don't want to mess. I want you guys to see this without like a bunch of dysfunction and distractions. So I'm turning this heat up. Like it's already nice and hot. Okay, that's not gonna, everything's not gonna be perfect. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let this cook down a little bit. But I have this set on high, not at the highest, but I have it set on high. But usually when you're making pasta, you want to wait for it to come to a rolling boil. Now a rolling boil is when it's like, blah, 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 like, you know, a witch's cauldron full of witchy ingredients. So I did not do that for this. But I knew that if I had the water heated up and then I turned it up after adding the pasta, it would start boiling in no time. And sometimes with these, you know, double boiler pots, when it boils, you know, in this pot, it can like come up and then you start hearing the sizzles like because it's hitting, you know, the stove top. So I don't want to do that. I don't care for it all the time, but this is what we have here. Now we have this simmering. It's looking good. Turn it up a little bit. All right. So usually when you cook pasta, you want to cook it for about 7 minutes. You want it to be al dente, which basically means it's not hard and stiff. It's no crunch to it, and it basically is well done. But you don't want your pasta mushy. It's nasty. Nobody likes mushy pasta. You don't ever want to make mushy pasta because that means all that hard work that you did is going to go out the window. Nobody's going to eat your food. You're not going to even want to eat your food. We can't have that. We have to eat what we make. Stuff costs too much these days, right? All right. So I'm going to turn that up a little bit more. All right. So I have 6 viewers. Where y'all at? Where y'all from? Tell me. I have some time to interact and do some Q&As. Let me know what's on your mind. What's going on? Well, I'm Nisi. If you are new here, if you don't know me, I am a nutritionist. Y'all need to see all my house now. I'm a nutritionist. I have a bachelor's of science in nutrition. And before I got my degree and went into my university venture, I was always a foodie who loved to do research on different foods and various dietary needs of others. I've always been interested before I embarked on my journey of going to school for nutrition. I always wanted to start a business that I could make food or meal prep for people who had like diabetes, celiac disease. And the thing about people who are diabetic, some of them have like insulin spikes, and that means that they can't have certain things that have sugar. And so, they might feel like they have to eat bland foods, and that's not fun. So I wanted to be the person to learn about these different diseases and disorders and figure out how I can make food that is safe for people to eat, but they can also enjoy. Now, the thing about celiac disease, it's a disease where if a person eats gluten, it can cause a lot of inflammation in the digestive system, whether it's the stomach or the intestines, and it's not fun. It's uncomfortable. I don't have celiac disease, but I've known people who've had it, and they can't have like fried foods because it has to be dipped in like some sort of breading. So it really sucks. And so, my vision was to create a company where I can figure out how these people can still enjoy some of these amazing foods, like calamari, for instance. Calamari has to be dipped in breading, but I have to figure out how to create some sort of breading that is not going to kill them. But then I ended up having Crohn's disease, and so I had to learn how to cook for myself. And by learning how to cook for myself and adjusting to my disease, I've learned more about other people's issues and ailments and how they have to adjust. So I'm really like a person that cares a lot about people's health. I'm not one that's going to sugarcoat people's health and say, oh yeah, it is totally okay for you to eat 5 burgers, 5 cheese bacon burgers in the week. You're going to be okay. It's okay to indulge and enjoy foods that make you feel good and they taste good, but you have to do everything in moderation because you're going to end up slowly killing yourself. Your arteries can get clogged from all that stuff, all that cholesterol, and we want you to live forever. You want to be healthy and happy and not unhealthy, miserable, and sick all the time. And then we want to keep our money in our pockets and not give it to the hospitals and the medical industry. But anywho, let's see how our pasta is doing. I'm gonna go ahead and make this bigger. So I can hear this bubbling. I think I want to rotate it a little bit. The tops of these meatballs, I want them to be like submerged now. Get all this flavor in here. And don't be afraid to experiment with food. You know, if you have, you know, a limited inventory of certain kinds of foods in your pantry or in your refrigerator or your freezer, don't be afraid to like throw some stuff together and see how it works out. Of course, you want to put stuff together that makes sense. Like, you don't want to be sauteing some pineapple with some pasta sauce. I don't know, that might taste good if you try it out, but I wouldn't. I would not want to go that far in my experimentation. Okay, so I'm gonna take this spoon. I'm gonna move things around a little bit. And I want to get the top of this pasta, you know, down in the water and submerged. And here's a little trick. I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil to the water. Now you may be thinking like, why are we adding olive oil to the water? Well, if you've ever made any kind of pasta, noodle, top ramen or whatever, and you take it out the water and then all of a sudden they start to stick together, and that's a pain in the butt to deal with. It's like you don't want pasta to be sticking together. So adding a little bit oil to the water is gonna help them just kind of slide right up against each other. I have 3 viewers. Hey, you guys, like, what's up? Talk to me. What's going on? Do you have any questions? You want to share, like, where you're from? I would love to know. And I want to get to know you guys just as much as you want to get to know me. So I am going to take a breather and just sit down, because we don't always want to be on our feet in the kitchen. Some of us have feet that can swell up. I don't actually have feet that can swell up, but I know some people do. Like if you're pregnant, then that can happen. Or if you have gout. But what's up, you guys? So while my pasta is still cooking, because I'm really waiting on that, my sauce has been simmering for about 10 minutes now. And I probably have about 4 or 5 more minutes on my pasta. So everything is gonna be ready momentarily, and you're gonna get to see how I plate it and what my reaction is to my food. And you know what? I don't always like what I cook. Sometimes my foods may come out not as I imagined it. Sometimes they come out really good. Sometimes they're like, okay, like it's edible. Nothing comes out like super nasty, thank God. Like, oh, I can't eat any nasty food. But there was one time I made something for a potluck at a job that I had when I was in the military. I was in the Navy at one point, and we were doing like a department potluck. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make some mashed potatoes, because, you know, one person was barbecuing and another person was gonna make like some pasta salad. This person's bringing this person's bringing the cups and forks. There's always that cups and forks and plates person, right? They don't ever want to actually like make something, so they go to the dollar store and get the cheapest thing because it's just easier for them. But anyways, I wasn't the cups, forks, and plates person. I was the mashed potato girl. So I decided I was gonna make the best vegan mashed potatoes, and you will not believe the main thing that I forgot to do. I forgot to salt the dang potatoes. I did not add salt. So people were eating it and they were like, because I was hyping it up. I was hyping it up the day before. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to bring these mashed potatoes. Like, it's gonna taste, you know, garlic. It's gonna have like some, I can't believe it's not butter. It's gonna hit. And they were like, okay, yeah. You know, I really sold it. So I come with these bland behind mashed potatoes, and they were like, York, what happened? I said, what you mean what happened? I was offended. But see, this is exactly what I didn't want. Let me turn this down. Now it's not so bad. It's just like right here on the stove. But, oh God, who wants to deal with that? And just know that if you ever have like something that's boiling over, if you take a wooden spoon and set it on the top, like a spoon that's long enough to like sit there, it's not gonna boil over. For some reason, the bubbles are just gonna pop and it's never gonna reach over the edge. But yeah, back to my bland mashed potatoes. It was very embarrassing. It was very embarrassing that I hyped up my food and they were like, yeah, girl, this is bland. Did you add the salt? I didn't. I didn't add the salt. A shame and a sham. So ever since then, I've always made sure to salt my water. If I'm salting like pasta or like potato, that's what I do. All right. Oh, crap. So I'm gonna taste this. So what I really wanna do is I just wanna bite into it to make sure that it's al dente. We don't want any crunchy pasta. Like, yes, this looks limp, but on the inside, it might still be, you know, a little undercooked. So it's undercooked. So we're gonna give this, I would say about 2 more minutes. I'm gonna set my timer on my microwave because I don't want to be running my mouth and then the pasta becomes overcooked. So timer, 2 minutes, start. So have you guys ever had like food that you made and it just came out like crap? I have. And I hope that everybody has forgotten about it like I try to. But you ever have like a memory hit you and it's like, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. Yeah, it's one of those random memories that kind of haunt me when I'm up at night. And it's just like, oh shit, I remember that time where I made some bland ass mashed potatoes. But yeah, who are my 2 viewers? Don't be shy, just comment. Let me know what's going on. What are you guys doing? Is it morning where you're at? Is it the evening? It is 7:34 p.m. where I am. I am in America. I'm American, yeah. And I'm in Texas, so. And you know, a lot of people have like had things to say about Texas, but it has not been bad out here, in my opinion. Like, maybe it's because where I've chosen to live. I live in San Antonio, Texas. So it's a big city, but it's big enough to where like you have parts that are like really cool and fun to be at. The only thing I don't like about where I'm at in Texas is there's no beaches. I'm a Cali girl. I need to be around the beach. I need some water. We have 13 seconds. All right, let's go and see what's happening. Two, one. All right, cancel. All right, so mixing that up a little bit. Now let's try another pasta noodle. This is probably, okay, it's not too hot, thank gosh. So I'm gonna try this. I want you guys to see me try it. Okay. All right. Can I make this higher? I need to get a bigger stand. All right, so now I want to focus my attention onto this that's bubbling so beautifully. Uh-oh. Can't stir this up too much because it's going to pour over the sides. Let me get like some of this chunkiness right here. In some cultures, some people like to put the sauce on their hands. I am not brave enough to ever do that because I do not like getting burned. I'd rather burn my tongue than my skin. All right. And I'm not just saying that because it's my food, okay? I'm not just saying that because it's my food. It actually tastes good. All right, so I'm gonna get a little plate out. I'm gonna cover this back up. I'm gonna turn this off. And I'm gonna put you back right here. And make sure I got my angles right. Okay. This is tomato paste, I didn't need it. So as I'm letting all of this come to an end, cleaning up. Because I cannot stand to eat a good meal and then have like a crap ton of dishes to do. So, pro tip, if you have a sink, fill it up with water before you even start cooking. Put like some dish liquid in there and, you know, fill it up a little bit. And then that way, once you're done cooking, you can take the dishes and just put it in there so they can soak off and all the stuff doesn't get stuck and it's just like a nightmare to like scrub, or if you put it in a dishwasher, it doesn't get everything off. So, pro tip, all right? Don't say I didn't teach you anything. And I'm gonna go ahead and put like all of my seasonings and my oils away. My olive oil. And going to throw these away. It's been so fun cooking with you guys. This is my first live and I was actually nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I figured nobody was gonna show up. Nobody was gonna, you know, care about what I had to say or what I was cooking. But, you know, for those of you who made it, thank you so much. And thank you for interacting with me and telling me about where you're from and, you know, your culture, your language, things that you like to eat. I really appreciate you sharing all of those wonderful things with me. So how many people I have with me? I have 2 people with me. How come y'all acting so shy? Tell me about yourselves. What's going on? Like, what are y'all doing? Are y'all cooking? Are you studying? Are you eating? I'm tired. I'm tired. But I'm not going to leave until I take the first bite. So stick around. You mystery people, you. All right. So what I'm gonna end up doing, and I hope I don't hurt myself when I do this. I'm gonna get a bowl so that way I can take this hot pot that I have this pasta in and take the double boiler and then take the pasta out and then just put the pasta in like another container. And I want to do all of that without burning myself. So if I get injured, I have witnesses and y'all gonna help me get a claim with the insurance company. All right, so here we go. Got a big bowl I can put my pasta in. All right, so I'm gonna put this bowl right here. And when you're handling hot cookware like pots and pans, please use oven mitts and like, you know, things like this. Let me show you. Oven mitt or, you know, something like this. A pot holder, there we go. I am not a fire sign. I do not welcome fire. I'm an earth sign, I'm a Taurus. All right. Here we go. So I'm gonna put this in here like this. Ooh, the steam itself is hot as I don't know what. Now remember, I had put some oil in this water so that once I drain this pasta, it's not sticking to each other, because that is not what we want. Okay, so now I'm just gonna transfer this right here. Ooh. Oh yes, that was smooth. You don't know how many kitchen disasters I've had. All right. Okay. So we got these little tidbits right here, but that's all right. I'm gonna pull this. And boom, it's over. We survived. We survived the hot boiling water pouring portion. I'm actually gonna pour that out. Ooh, that's hot. It's real hot. So this is how I'm gonna plate this up. I'm going to take the pasta, swirl it around on my plate with the tongs, and then I am going to take a ladle and pour the sauce on. So I'll take you over here with me to do this. Give me a second. I want it to look nice for you guys. I want it to be a nice little grand finale, so hold on. Gotta put my can opener away. And wipe up the tomato sauce that is on the counter. right, and I'm gonna have that right here. Now with when you have these steel knives, you don't want to like submerge them in your water because they will get rusty. So just like set them on the side somewhere where they're not gonna like get water rust spots. Cause then it's like more work you have to do to like scrub that off, and we don't want more work. We want to work smarter, not harder. We're gonna put our taste testing spoon in the sink. And I have half a packet of this left. So to conserve it, you see how the packet is like, you know, I tore it open and it looks like this. So what I'm gonna do is make sure like all of that powder is at the bottom, and I'm just going to fold it like this. Like double fold it. So that way you can use it for next time and it's still fresh. All right. Okay. So let me get my plate. And I'm not gonna make myself like a whole bunch because sometimes I don't eat a lot in one sitting. So you're gonna see me serve myself only what I'm going to eat. I'm not about to like be a glutton and eat a whole bunch of food, especially at this time of night. Especially something as heavy as pasta. Moderation is key. Okay, I don't have any more of my silverware, but I have a plastic fork. I know some people trip off of plastics and microplastics, but like everything that you use is plastic, and you can't really avoid it. You can't avoid it, so you have to pick and choose. So I have a plastic fork because I don't have any metal forks available. They have to be washed. So don't let nobody make you feel bad about using plastics. It's silly. All right, so, ooh, look at that. It's real hot. Now, this plastic fork, I feel like it will snap because of the weight of this pasta. So what I'm gonna do is take my tongs might get a little bit more pasta. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pinch this in the middle a little bit. And then I'm gonna swirl it around. So that way it's kind of like a little hole in the middle. Oh, crap. Well, it's not going as planned, but oh well. And then I'm going to take a ladle or ladle. Gotta figure out which drawer I have it in. Aha, got it. And I'm going to get some of the sauce. I'm gonna get a meatball and I'm gonna just pour it on the top. Oh, yes. Yes, Lord. Oh, this looks so pretty. Okay. Look at that. I have one meatball on the top, but I have like so much sauce. You see how chunky it is? Like, oh my God. It smells really good. There's fresh ingredients and dry ingredients, which is the herbs and the aromatics. So now, first bite. I'm gonna take this like that, swirl it around. I want some of this nice chunky diced tomato. Okay, it's not too hot. It's so good. I'm gonna try this this spicy Italian pork meatball. Wow. Wow. I know I said I was only gonna eat this, but I might end up getting some more. So there you have it. A recipe that doesn't call for too many fresh ingredients. You don't have to make it everything from scratch. Like plant the tomato, grow it, take it out the garden and dice it, and you can use canned goods and get something that tastes amazing and immaculate. So do not feel like you have to slave over a stove and take all the time in the world just to make something that should be relatively easy and simple and to make your life simple. This right here, super simple. I used what I already had, except for the produce. That was the only thing that I went to the grocery store to get. And then if you don't have like fresh onion, if you don't have fresh garlic, get some garlic powder, get some onion powder. Because what I find is like, yeah, you can use like fresh herbs and fresh ingredients, but when you layer on dry ingredients, when you're seasoning and getting your food to taste really robust and flavorful, you can't lose. I will say you don't need a gang of salt. You don't need to put salt in everything, especially if you are eating something that is prepackaged. They usually put salt in it already because salt is a preservative. So that's where a lot of people go wrong. They feel like that they have to over salt things, and then they're wondering why they have hypertension. We don't want hypertension. We want to live healthy lives and just eat food that feels good and tastes good, but it's not going to kill us. But if you can't make everything from scratch, more power to you. Go ahead and knock yourself out. I encourage it, but only if you have the time. Don't stress yourself out. Listen, I'm about to I'm about to dog this food, okay? And I don't need y'all seeing this. Y'all need to be a witness to seeing how ravenous I can get, okay? But that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I loved having you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.